Welcome to Healthy Living. You're going to love today's show because our guest, Brittany Williams, is someone most of us can relate to. Check it out.
Best-selling author Brittany Williams struggled with her weight and yo-yo dieting for years. When her 4-year-old daughter was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, Brittany began researching anti-inflammatory foods to help her get better. Making those meals not only helped her family, but Brittany started losing weight quickly. In her book, Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight, Brittany shares how making quick and easy meals using wholesome ingredients in her Instapot helped her lose 125 pounds.
And Brittany Williams is here with us now to show us some of the gorgeous recipes you feature in your new book, Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Can I just say, you are drop dead gorgeous. I mean, even when you were at your heaviest, you still were such a beautiful woman. How did you feel at that time?
Thank you. I always had a lot of self-confidence. I think that comes from a young age, and I think it's also dependent on personalities too. I always kind of felt comfortable in my body and like I was on top of the world. But I knew that I had some health-related issues that had to do with my weight. And so when I went into this journey, it really I wasn't intending to try to lose weight. I was really just trying to fix all of the underlying issues.
Well, I think a lot of people can relate to you because you were such a busy person. Children, husband, and really it was just fastest and easiest to get fast food all the time. And who can't relate to that?
We were phoning in the pizza man. I mean, a minimum of 2 times a week.
Right.
And I just felt like I never had time to prepare food. And some of it was procrastination and spending too much time on social media. But a lot of it was I had my hands full with toddlers and pregnancy and all kinds of things. And I knew that I needed to fix the time issue.
So your husband, this story cracks me up, got you an Instapot and you let it sit there in the box for weeks because you're like, okay, that's just one more thing I've got to do to figure out this contraption.
I did. I let it sit there forever, and he actually threatened to take it back to the store, and then I felt super guilty because he did this nice thing for me. So it encouraged me to get it out of the box for the first time, and I just tried my hand at making a cup of rice because, who cares? If you lose 10 cents over a cup of rice, it's not a big deal. But it came out, it was absolutely fantastic. My kids ate the whole pot, and I actually had to make a second pot because it was that good.
Wow, and we want to get into what this Instant Pot is. Some people call it an Instapot, but a lot of people don't really know what an Instapot is. It's basically a pressure cooker, which sort of speeds up the time that it takes to make a meal, right?
Absolutely. So it used to be on the stove top, and they were kind of dangerous because the tops could shoot off and it could come to pressure too fast. But this is that condensed, and it has 10 different safety mechanisms built into the pot. So it's very safe to use. Your pot's never going to explode on you. You're not going to have boiling liquid shooting at you as long as you follow the instructions. And it can be a bit intimidating, but what I like to encourage people with is really, in actuality, you're only ever going to use 3 of those functions. You're going to use your pressure cook function, you're going to use your saute function, which that's kind of what sets it apart from the regular stovetop pressure cookers and from the crock pots as well, is that it really is one and done. So you don't have to saute things on the stove first and then transfer it to the pot. You can saute right in that pot. And then it also has a yogurt setting. So you can do things like ferment yogurt. You can let your bread rise in this pot. It's great.
And we should say that, as we talked about a little bit earlier, the whole reason you got into this new way of eating was because your daughter was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease, and the doctor recommended an anti-inflammatory diet for her, and so you started making that for her. What is an anti-inflammatory diet?
So there are foods, for instance, nightshades, which are like tomatoes and eggplant and peppers and potatoes, and then also things like grains and dairy that are known causers of inflammation in the body. And so I began to research the autoimmune protocol diet, and we started with that. And then after we were on that for a while and we saw an improvement in her health, I began to add things back in little by little to see if there was something that might be causing her inflammation to spike. And we noticed that gluten, dairy, red meat, pork are all triggers for her. So we keep those things at a minimum in her diet. And so what I like to encourage people is that this is just what works for me. Just because this is what works for me and my family, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work for you and yours. So please feel free to change things up as you like. You know, instead of using pork in a recipe, use chicken breasts instead. Instead of using tomatoes or bell peppers, if you can't have those things, you can absolutely just leave them out. So,
well, as a health reporter, I find that inflammation causes so many different types of diseases, including things like heart disease and Alzheimer's and cancer, some of our worst diseases. So an anti-inflammatory diet is really a good idea for all of us. We should all try to lower our inflammation. And they say that inflammation is mostly found in fast food, which you have completely given up.
right.
Oh, wonderful.
I was a fast food addict.
Yes.
That started from a really young age because we lived on a fast food diet when my parents were raising us. My mom was a full-time working mom. My dad was disabled, and they didn't have a lot of time to make us meals. There were 7 of us. And so it was just whatever was quick, whatever was easy, and whatever we could put together ourselves. And a lot of times that entailed a lot of fast food. And by the time I was 15 years old, I was already clinically morbidly obese, and I had an autoimmune disease myself. I had hypothyroid disease. And so I went on medication for 10 years, but thank goodness with switching my diet and starting to eat just real food, I was able to go into remission.
Wow, what a testimonial. Okay, so this cookbook is amazing. The pictures in it are gorgeous. You're going to be showing us how to make one of your favorite recipes. What is it?
So this is my salsa chicken. It's just a really nice shredded chicken that you can do over a salad, or you can do it in tacos. And it's very quick and very easy. You're just going to dump that chicken right into the pot. I have some red salsa here that I'm going to throw on top. Then I have some green salsa. And this is my homemade taco seasoning. A lot of times in the store, the seasoning blends have anti-caking agents, they have sugar, they have a lot of ingredients that I prefer to leave out. And so making it yourself at home, not only is it really quick and easy, but it's gonna ensure that you're getting the best quality of ingredients. So then you're just gonna put the lid on top of the pot, you're gonna make sure it's in the sealing position, and then you're gonna use the display panel to set it, and then it's ready.
So how long does it take to cook?
It's under 30 minutes start to finish, and that's with frozen chicken breasts as well. So you can do thawed or you can do frozen. I always say it's the procrastinator's dream because I always forget to pull my frozen meats out of the refrigerator.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you can put frozen meats in the Instant Pot, and this is what it looks like after it's been cooking for about 30 minutes, you say?
That's right.
And you actually use your hand mixer to shred it. That's funny.
I do. Not only is it more fun, but it also saves your wrists. All of that, you know, shredding.
I'm going to try that. So this is what it looks like. And again, this is the chicken, and it sort of has a Mexican flavor. And you like to put it on tortillas that you make yourself. How do you make your own tortillas?
We do. And this is actually my husband's recipe. He is really into baking, but these are homemade tortillas. It's very, very simple. It's just corn flour, oil, and a little bit of water and sea salt. You can add some lime if you're feeling a little bit spicy.
Lime always makes Mexican food taste better.
And then you're just gonna put your shredded chicken just like you would on any Taco Tuesday. And we've got some lettuce here. And I like to pack on the veggies, so whatever you have on hand, feel free to use. And then I have some of my homemade guacamole. This is truly the best guacamole
It looks wonderful.
you will ever taste.
And we know avocados are that healthy fat. What else is in your guacamole besides avocado?
I've got cumin, garlic, sea salt, tomatoes, jalapenos, cilantro, all the good stuff. And there we go.
Wonderful.
We've just got a beautiful little taco.
Gorgeous. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break, and Brittany Williams is going to show us some more dishes out of her new cookbook. It's called Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight. Stay with us.
region's first ROTC graduate student.
Meet the pastors who are preaching the gospel in a fresh, fearless way. I'm Roberto Torres-Cedillo. Join me each week for Next Gen Voices. And watch God transform a generation.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike ROIZEN, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Welcome back. We're talking with Brittany Williams, author of the cookbook Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight, and we all want to look like you. You lost 125 pounds using the Instant Pot recipes in here, but also there are recipes in here using a blender and an air fryer.
That's right. So I like to incorporate a plethora of cooking methods because I know not everybody has an electric pressure cooker laying around at home, and also because you can't do everything in the Instant Pot. It's a great pot, but it's not a magic pot. So I have my carrot mango smoothie over here. This is a crowd pleaser, and it has what I just said: carrots, mangoes, a little bit of coconut water. If you don't have that, you can use some almond milk or regular water, and you whir it up in your blender. This is a great thing to have for breakfast if you know that you're going to be eating something that's a little bit more heavy in starchy carbohydrates for dinner or lunch. And then over here, I have my autumn arugula salad, and it is full of delicious greens like arugula and spinach. And then I make the sweet potatoes in the Instant Pot.
Oh, really? So that doesn't take very long, I'm guessing. Normally, sweet potatoes take a long time in the oven.
Right. Or people like to do them in their microwaves, but I prefer to do them in my Instant Pot. And it comes with this nifty little stainless steel trivet that you just place inside the pot with some water, set your potato on top, and in 10 minutes, you're going to have a wonderfully cooked sweet potato.
And sweet potatoes are so delicious, but also so healthy with the beta carotene.
Yep.
And what else is in this salad besides the arugula, spinach, and sweet potatoes?
So I've got apples, goat cheese, and walnuts.
So is this something that you would have for dinner at your home?
Absolutely. Lunch, dinner, even breakfast. I don't discriminate against salad for breakfast. This is such a tasty salad, and you even make the raspberry vinaigrette at home using ingredients that you probably already have in your pantry.
But again, really fast because you're a mom on the go, and that's sort of the whole point of this, right?
Right, and it's great with something like this because even if you know not everybody in your family is going to enjoy that as a meal, you can make it like the recipe says and then just preserve the ingredients to reassemble yourself at a later date.
Wonderful. So what else do we have here? Something in a bowl. This is your minestrone, right?
Yeah, this is called my lazy day vegetable minestrone. We've all had those nights where we really don't feel like cooking at all. And this solves that problem because you're using a frozen bag of mixed vegetables, cans of beans that you already have in the pantry, and then some gluten-free pasta. So no matter what, you can have things the ingredients for this dish on hand at all times.
Wow, so you just put some stuff in your pantry or in the freezer, and when you haven't been to the grocery store for a while, guilty, you can pull these things out and make a fast and delicious meal for your family.
That's right.
Wow, you've thought of everything. And I was really surprised to see there are a lot of desserts in that cookbook. Here you lost 125 pounds and you eat desserts. How does that happen?
Dessert. I am 100% pro dessert. So this is my lemon crumb bundt cake, and I like to use alternative sweeteners. So instead of doing like sugar or agave, I like to use things like 100% pure maple syrup and coconut sugar. I just feel that my body has an easier time digesting those things. And if you know that you yourself don't have an issue with those things, then you can also swap those out.
So this is that you've sweetened it with 100% maple syrup.
That's different than pancake syrup.
The pancake syrup has the high fructose corn syrup in it, so you'll have to look for the 100% pure. That's more expensive.
It's more expensive, so I highly recommend getting that at a wholesale club or somewhere where you can buy it in a bigger quantity, because if you buy it at your local grocery store, you're going to be paying a premium.
Right, and it really doesn't go bad.
No.
So you can have it on hand for a long time.
And it lasts for a long time.
And you said you were gluten-free, so what did you use in place of flour?
So I have almond flour and coconut flour. And if you have a nut allergy, I also like to tout that the book is pretty allergy friendly. So in the beginning of the book, I give a list of substitutions. So if you are egg-free, I list what to do for that. If you are nut-free, I list what to do with that. So this is a cake, but it really is good for anybody.
And you allowed yourself, when you were losing 125 pounds, to have sweets every now and then to protect yourself from binging, because when you deprive yourself, one of these days you're going to blow.
Right. And that's what I found. I was a serial dieter for 15 years, and I just repeated this cycle over and over and over again. And when I stopped restricting, I found that I really began to have success. Within that, I wasn't eating dessert every single night of the week, but on Friday and Saturday night, I'd enjoy a little sweet treat, and then it gave me something to look forward to at the end of the week.
Such great advice. All right, we're going to take another quick break and be back with Brittany Williams, and she's going to talk to us more about how she lost 125 pounds. Stay tuned.
Having sex before you marry is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
Welcome back, and the book is Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight. Brittany Williams lost 125 pounds, and a lot of people say, wait a second, just because of the Instant Pot. That's not really true. It's what you gave up in place of these healthy foods, right?
It's really what I was putting into the pot. So I began to listen to my body. I ditched the dieting cycle, and I instead began to focus all of that energy that I was using to learn the next fad diet and to focus on those things. And instead, I decided to focus on keeping it simple. I mean, 100 years ago, people didn't have the obesity epidemic on their hands that we have on our hands now.
Yeah.
And they didn't have calorie tracking apps and calorie counting apps. So how can I see similar success as they did back then in my own life? And how could I apply that to now? And what I found was I just need to pay attention to my portions. It can be that simple, you know, and learning proper portion sizes and learning about how big my stomach is and how big it's supposed to be, and not eating until I'm stuffed, but eating until I'm satisfied, respecting my body in those ways, honoring my fullness, you know, and when I began to pay attention, things really began to change.
So you're kind of anti-diets. This is sort of like a lifestyle. So you don't advocate people do sort of restriction type eating until they get to their goal weight and then kind of go back to the way they were before.
Right. I don't advocate for starting a diet that you know is not going to be sustainable for you long term, because then how are you going to maintain the results that you see long term? I know that for myself, every time that I dieted, I put a timeline on it, and I said, okay, it's going to be 30 days or it's going to be 2 weeks because I want to slim down for this person's wedding.
Right.
And just having that in my head, it was a recipe for failure, because then what happens at the end of those 2 weeks? I eat all the donuts and I drink all the coffee, and you know, like, and then it's an epic binge, because it's like, well, I'm off my diet and I did good and now I deserve this as a reward. And kind of disassociating emotions with food. I mean, food can have positive ties to emotions, but it can also have very negative ties to emotions. And what I found was that for me, I was really using food as a Band-Aid. And I think that a lot of times we do that. We're happy or we're sad or we're overwhelmed, and we phone in that pizza and we say, well, I really need it, you know, and realizing that I really didn't need it. And I need to look inside and begin to realize that I have maybe some other issues going on, and speak to those things instead.
Well, I think so many people, certainly all of us, and myself included, who struggle with weight can relate to all that emotional eating for emotional reasons, whether you're happy, sad, stressed, tired. Where can people find out more information about your personal journey? Do you have a website?
I do. So you can find out more on instantloss.com. That's my website. And I post daily motivation on Instagram. My handle is @instantloss.
And you know, you have this amazing cookbook, and can I just say the pictures in here are fantastic. Well done. And you're coming out with another cookbook, and it's about eating healthy for less, because that's the first thing people say is, oh, it's too expensive, but it isn't.
Right. So at the end of this year, and it's still kind of on the down low.
Okay. Nobody's saying it.
But we have another book coming out called Instant Loss on a Budget, and it's all how to feed your family for less. So my family was a single income family when I started this, and a comment that I get all the time is, I want to eat healthy, but it's so expensive. And what I like to encourage people is it doesn't have to be. And you know what really is expensive? Dieting. But if we're not dieting and we're just focusing on eating real food and these sustainable behaviors that we're now beginning to implement, it's actually quite affordable.
So encouraging. Okay, we're going to take one more break and be back with Brittany Williams right after this.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
This is CBN News Watch.
Thanks for joining us.
Watch breaking news, exclusive stories and programs, incredible news reporting.
We show you what's happening in the world and how you can pray about it.
This is CBN News Watch, because truth matters. Weekdays at 5 on the CBN News Channel.
Yes, right on time.
From Superbook.
Pepper's Pizza Palace is donating pizza for everyone today.
Wait. I have big plans today.
Trust in God even when times are tough. He has a plan for your life.
Hey, we're gonna be late for the grand opening.
My parents want me to help with this outreach thing, feeding the community. What am I supposed to do here? Superbook!
Join the Superbook Club and get Superbook The Birth of Moses, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25.
Pharaoh ordered all newborn Hebrew boys thrown into the Nile River, and I have a 3-month-old brother.
The Birth of Moses. Yours for a gift of only $25.
What will you do the next time the soldiers come?
I do not know, but I trust God has a plan for all of us.
Superbook Club members, free streaming for seasons 1, 2, and 3 is now available.
CBN News, no filter, 24/7 news. Through the lens of faith, from natural disasters to breaking news in the Holy Land. We have access to stars in entertainment and to top newsmakers. We are fighting for your freedoms. CBN News, because truth matters. Become a CBN News member today.
Once again, the book is Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight. And Brittany, I was noticing in the acknowledgments, you thanked Jesus. Talk about your faith story.
I grew up in a Christian home. I was really, really blessed to grow up with parents that were faith-based. My dad got saved a little bit later on. He actually went to a men's Promise Keepers conference and was radically saved. And then after that, church was just a part of our daily life. But I didn't really take my faith in as my own until I was a teenager. And I was encouraged because I can sing. And so I was encouraged to join the worship team. And after I joined the worship team, I realized that I really wanted to delve deeper and take these truths in as my own. So I ended up going to seminary school and graduating with a certificate of completion for worship. And I that's what my background is in, is church ministry and leadership. And but I would not have anything without the Lord. I mean, the way that all of this came to be was in such a radical and fantastic way that if it wasn't for the Lord and his hidden hand in all of it, it wouldn't have come to be.
Well, I believe that he's using you for a very special purpose, because so many people within the church and outside of the church, of course, also struggle with their weight and struggle with their health. And this diet and this way of eating really can solve those problems. So well done. And it's been just such a pleasure having you here today. And once again, the book is called Instant Loss, Eat Real, Lose Weight. My guest, Brittany Williams, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here as well. We'll see you again next time on Healthy Living.